Welcome to another episode of the Beast Files. I am Jeff A31, and this is episode 10, the finale. And I am here with a special guest, the man from the biggest cliffhanger in history of TV, the guy who is about to flip a $10 million coin toss. $10 million if he gets tails, $5 million if he doesn't, and he goes home. You show me a guy with bigger guts than that, and I will be so surprised. So here I am with the legend, number 974, Gage.
Wow. Thank you for having me, Jeff.
I mean,
It's unreal.
but seriously, like I've thought about this coin toss a handful of times, and I've taken risks in life. I've done crazy stuff. I've ran with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Like I put myself in situations that are just nuts.
Okay.
To flip for $5 million when you've come so far,
Yeah.
you're better than 99.7% of the people to
Well.
get to the final six.
Lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, but you got there. Like,
Sure.
how the hell were you thinking when you had that coin in your hand?
I mean, when I got there, when we got to the set, right, I knew that I was someone that hadn't made any really, really bold moves, like genuine moves that would, I guess, solidify like my place as like a I would say player like of genuine integrity. I tried to play the game as like honest as I could, and I was just coming from a challenge on the towers where I felt like I was backed into a corner, and I
Yeah.
had to, be deceitful and tell people that I was going to vote for them when I knew that I wasn't. And when I had the opportunity, when he brought out that extra 5 million, I was like, this is the time. This is my moment to somewhat redeem myself, to be able to risk risk my like life in the game
Yeah.
for others to be able to potentially double the prize and win 10 million. So
And so I talked about that with Patrick on episode 9, like what the feeling was like when we pushed out the other 5 million. And like I remember with me, I was like, oh my gosh, this changes all. Like this changes all. What were you feeling? Like when you saw this come out, like what was the first thing that came through your mind? Were you immediately going, oh my gosh, this is doubled, or there's got to be a catch? Like what was going through?
I mean, I thought there was going to be a catch for sure. Knowing Jimmy, like there's always some sort of twist, but I mean, and there was. I mean, he wasn't just going to double the prize money. That you had to do something to be able for that to happen.
Yeah, we had to earn it somehow.
We had to earn it somehow. And yeah, I was so, I guess during this whole experience, it was very overwhelming for me. And a lot of the times it was kind of like I'm living through someone else's like experience, living my experience from a third person's perspective, like outside of my body. And I really didn't feel all that much, except for the fact that I knew being able to remove myself in that way, or being removed in that way, I was like, this would be the coolest thing if I was able to pull this off. So I already knew right when the coin came out and that decision was in my hands to be able to choose. I was like, I'm choosing it.
And
Yeah.
it was, I got to know you real well, and especially the second half of the show.
Yeah.
You know, from the island on, and then we were on, the physical challenge together
Yeah.
with the monster trucks, the dead hang.
That bonded
That
us. for
bonded
sure.
us.
Yeah.
Elimination train, we continue to bond. And just I think our trust and respect for each other continue to grow. And, you always made me laugh. We had good conversations, but when Chandler brought out the briefcase and they opened it up and kind of the rules were set, I looked at you and I've never seen you look like that.
Really.
Like you were like ear to ear, like
Yeah.
Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Like this is it. This is my moment.
Yeah.
So when you kind of talked about like, hey, like sometimes you're kind of separated from the moment, did you kind of go, hey, I'm not going to be a kind of a bystander. Like this is my moment to own this moment.
Right. Yeah. Kind of snapped right back into my body and being able to be in control of everything. And it felt really, really good. Um, just knowing that it would help all of us if I was able to pull it off. It would change all.
Yeah, it would change all. And I remember like, and I've gotten some feedback from the episode, like, hey, were you egging him on?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the word I would use, but I was definitely encouraging you. Like,
I think you were backing me up.
well, that's the thing is like
You're doing both.
for me, like one of the attributes of loving someone is I want for them what they want. And for you, I knew you wanted this. Like for the episode of, hey, you were egging him on. Like Jeff, you were trying to get him to do it. And I didn't feel that way, but what were you feeling?
I didn't feel that way at all. I mean, I thought T obviously was the one that was kind of, egging me on. I believed that she wanted to do it as well. And her hand going over the coin and being like, ooh, I'm feeling it. This is good. But to back up just a little bit, Courtney had already kind of stated that she was feeling tails. And I don't know if she actually heard me say that I wanted to pick tails, or if she knew anything about that, or if she knew anything about me picking tails in the cube challenge. But
Gage, guess who else picked tails in the cube challenge?
yeah,
Me.
I remember you telling me that. That was
Yeah. So
crazy.
when I heard Courtney say that and you say that,
Yeah.
it was like,
Right.
this is it.
Right. That was the move to make. And you explaining your like thought process on why you didn't want to make that move, because if you would have done it, like it would have been, just it would have been unfortunate for sure for anyone to pick it and then not have it be the pick.
And yeah, and for me, I'm not a gambler. Like I'm a risk taker.
Yeah.
But a coin flip is literally a gamble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I can't come this far
Sure.
and get out on a coin toss.
Sure.
So I knew I was out.
Yeah.
I knew there was no way, there was no chance Emma was going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, he was pretty vocal about it. Courtney's like, hey, it's not for me, but it's tails. So I knew it was you two.
Yeah.
And I was with you I thought Tawana would do it, but if there was an incentive for her to do it, I thought she would do it.
Right.
But I looked at you and I'm like, there's no doubt you want to do this. How can I help you? How can I kind of foster that energy that you have?
Yeah.
And, Tawana's kind of egging you on. I kind of go, I'm like, hey, I need to, she kind of pushed me and Yessie aside.
Sure.
I went off with Carl,
Yep.
caught up with him. And then I come back and I kind of chirp in Tawana's ear,
Yeah.
calling out Tawana. And she bites right back.
That was so great.
And I quickly try to think of something and I bark back and she barks back at me.
Yep.
And I think I finished the last volley and just said, hey, if you do it, you know how it's going to end up. Just like anything else you've done, it's going to go in your favor.
Yeah.
And I feel like within a matter of seconds, you kind of just go, it's my time.
My time. And I felt it. I felt like it was going to be okay, especially, and then hearing or looking back when Emma was like, it's going to be okay. There was no doubt in my mind. It was weird. It was a very, very strange feeling. It was another God moment that I had in the show. It was just like, everything is coming into alignment.
And you looked like you were embracing it.
Yeah.
Like you didn't look nervous. You looked happy.
Yeah.
You look like this is my chance to shine. And, I'm pretty sure Patrick and I talked about it in episode 9, like when the still shot of the cliffhanger and you see everybody's face. Emma's dialed in, Tawana's dialed in, and you got this like grin looking up at the coin flip, and I'm in the back, like half eyes open, smiling, just kind of going, I think I got it. I think you got it.
Yeah.
So you flip. Are you watching this thing in the air go down? Like were you just eyeing it the whole time?
I had my eyes on the coin the whole entire time. Yeah, I was like, in those moments in my life, I'm just like, sometimes I don't want to look. I felt like watching it, I had some like semblance of control over what it would do, and it was wild. It was a wild, just wild moment.
Well, I mean, and I haven't thought about it till now, and I have goosebumps thinking about it. It's like playing a giant hand of blackjack.
Right.
or red or black on roulette.
Right. Sometimes I've been lucky. I'm not a gambler either, but I I remember going on a cruise once, and I think I guessed right, either black or red, maybe 10 times in a row, and I won like $350 and paid for my whole cruise. And then that kind of was in the back of my mind as well. Like, man, sometimes I'm lucky.
How have you not? Oh, sometimes 10 in a row? Are you kidding me?
Well, maybe 7. I don't know.
Hey, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so you're watching it go all the way down, and I'm the opposite. I'm in the back. Eyes are kind of half open. Once you flip it, I closed them.
Yeah.
And I just listened to it. I heard it hit the ground.
Yeah.
I heard Jimmy kind of groaning a little bit. When did you know it was tails?
I saw it. I saw it as it was spinning, and before it even stopped.
And so what was the immediate thought, feeling that you had?
It's like, of course, that was supposed to happen, and it happened. Yeah.
I
It was
love
amazing. It was like, here we go. And now we can start. Now we can start the rest of the finale.
Looking back at us, you're welcome.
Did I say that?
No, you should have. You should have. But it was one of these things where I didn't watch it. Audibly, I hear Jimmy go, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, we didn't get it.
Yeah, right.
And then it hit me. It's his money. Like he's losing $5 million.
Yeah, his own personal.
And so that's when, and I have goosebumps again. Like that's when I go, oh my gosh, he did it. And it was unbelievable.
I felt bad for a moment, like a moment.
For Jimmy?
Yeah, for Jimmy.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Well, and then Mac just rubs it in his face.
Yeah.
And it was hugs. We literally lifting you up off the ground. And it did change all. It just felt like a new game. I mean, forever. We're playing for $5 million, $5 million.
Yeah.
And now we're playing for $10 million. And it's just, $5 million is astronomical. $10 million is out of this world.
Right.
And so we quickly kind of pivoted. And we quickly said, okay, it's time to go compete for this $10 million.
Right.
Did you feel like you had re-earned people's trust that you might have broke the night before?
I don't know if I re-earned the trust, but I think I solidified myself as someone that was like a true competitor. Like I leveled myself up for sure in the game.
Unquestionably. I mean, I think the night before you showed that you can employ a strategy that is very unique and no one saw coming. And then flipping the coin, they says, this guy's got guts, like bigger than anybody. And selfishly, as someone in your alliance, I go, man, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So
it was great. It was a great feeling to be able to feel like I could be a leader to some capacity and be able to, step into those difficult decisions and being able to make those difficult decisions, because a lot of in my life in my past, I've kind of shied away, most of the time, and it's prevented me from doing a lot of things and accomplishing a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I think that was just an incredible moment for me to take that leap of faith and be able to, show myself that I was capable of making bold moves.
And you didn't just show yourself. You showed tens of millions of people in 200 countries and territories across the world. And I think that's like something that's neat about the games is you get to show the universe who you are. And so there's no turning back for you, which is awesome. So we get up to the pillars, and now we have the trapdoors again.
Yep.
And
triggered.
Yeah, no, and it was and I never went through the trapdoor, and obviously you didn't either. So it's kind of like, okay, this is going to be interesting.
Right.
We're higher up. The set is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back, I kind of think, gosh, Jimmy, I just love what he does because he allows us to choose our own adventure a lot.
Yep.
You got to choose in the coin flip. Okay, now, hey, Emma, you got elected first. Now you get to choose which pillar you want. We weren't assigned.
Right.
And she chooses pillar number 3. And I kind of go, okay, I like Emma. I can be close to her. I feel like being in the middle is where you want to be.
Really? Okay.
So that's why I chose the middle.
Okay. Was it just a innate feeling, or like, what
Yeah.
were you? Did you think, because we saw the tubes, we knew potentially that something was gonna, have to be thrown in them. What was your thought process?
I thought it was a like a one on like this is my tube
Yeah.
and I gonna have to like pop a shot.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think would be like, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's in the middle and maybe there's a benefit of being front and center.
Okay.
So that was my thought.
Okay.
Wasn't the case, but we'll chat about that.
Yeah.
So then next was Tawana, and I love what she did. She goes, hey, number one suits me well. I'm going to take number one. Then Yessie said, I'm going to go as far away from Tawana as possible and gets the other end.
Mm.
So now you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You go between Tawana and I,
Mhm.
or you go between Emma and Yessie.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you choose where you went?
I feel like I made the statement that I wanted to compete against the best, and not to diminish like the other players at all, but I felt like Tawana was one of the leading competitors.
Where do you want to stand?
And so were you.
Okay, she's heading over here. What do you
And
think about
I was like,
the corner platform?
I mean, I went this far. I had the dopamine kick
Yeah.
of making the $10 million coin flip. I'm like, let's go. That boosted my confidence significantly, and that helped me I can go against you guys.
Yeah, give me my sword, give me my shield.
Yeah.
Let's go, we're here.
Let's go. And I knew too, I think I was more safe between you guys as well, because I had a relationship with both of you.
I also think like when I saw you choose there, I kind of go, if we have to compete against you, it's going to be fair. It's going to be hard. And so obviously you took the spot between us, and then Courtney took that spot. And now the rule set is announced. Okay, we're bringing back the red balls that we used during the 10-minute timer, that we used during the Are You Ready to Throw Down,
Right.
that we used during our Hope You Can Catch. And your job is to throw it in another competitor's tube. And once you get it in there, they're automatically eliminated.
One shot.
One shot,
Yeah.
one shot, one kill. I personally felt good. I think my last year I played basketball was like freshman year in high school. I'm like, I'm an athlete. I can do decent enough.
Oh, yeah.
But I also kind of looked around and kind of go, everybody else here looks fairly athletic too. Like, what were your thoughts going into this?
I mean, I knew, speaking of your athleticism, I mean, we were in the city, we were, shooting hoops a lot.
Yeah.
And especially up like the top 10 before the tower challenge, we were all shooting hoops for some commercial of some kind. And you were making them in, but also I felt like I was super like zoned in, and I hadn't shot in a bit, and I got confident with making, I think, 3 or 4 in a row. And I was like, okay, so going into this game, I was like, I feel like I can do well. And then I thought Tawana was going to not be as, how do I say this?
You can just say it.
Yeah. I thought she would do a lot better.
Yeah, I thought
did, or I thought she was faking it,
I still don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like, she is athletic as all get out.
Oh, for sure.
I got a good friend who is like one of the most athletic people, like so athletically built, so fast and so strong,
Body awareness,
but couldn't make a free throw for his life.
like hand-eye coordination type
It was
stuff.
tough.
Yeah.
So I get in there then. I had a strategy in mind of kind of what I was thinking.
Mm.
Did you have a strategy? Did we talk about our strategy?
I don't remember. All I remember is turning to T and saying, hey, I'm not going to go for you, because obviously I was her closest shot.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of made me feel better, and being like, okay, if she's not going to go for me, I'm somewhat safe. And then I knew you weren't going to go for me.
And I looked at you and I said, I got you.
Right.
And
same.
And yeah, and so I felt, and with Tawana, I didn't know how hard it was going to be to make these balls and people's things. So like, that's why I'm like, okay, immediately Emma gets first choice. And I think she goes at me.
Yep.
And then I go, okay, I'm going to go at you. And I almost make it like in and out. And then we kind of go through. And did you have an idea of where you wanted to throw it first?
I knew that I wasn't going to go for you. I wasn't going to go for T. The next closest was Emma. And after seeing her shoot at you, I was like, I got to do
You got
something
to defend the alliance.
I got to defend the alliance. So I went for her. And I knew I wasn't going to go for Courtney just because of I've already betrayed her, you know? So, and then Yessie was just so far away. I was just like, Emma was logically the next best, like, selection for me.
Yeah, and I think Emma and I traded shots 2 or 3 times. And then eventually I go, this isn't the best move for me. Like the way I looked at it is I can be the seawall for you and Tawana. Like I've wanted to go against Tawana at the end, at like me, you and Tawana, or like what I thought, I kind of go, how far can we get? It's my alliance and the person I respect the most in the game. So if I can be the seawall and not let anybody, if I'm not going to shoot at you guys, I'm going to make it really hard for Emma or Courtney or Yessie to get to you guys.
Yeah.
But also, I need to stop Emma from shooting at me.
Right.
So I created a little truce with her. Hey, just want to let you know, you get to go first. If you don't go at me, I won't go at you.
Brilliant.
And it worked. And we started going at Courtney. And I don't know if it was the second shot, but tossed it in and kind of
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to the second.
And I made it, and I'm like, oh, 2 things. I'm like, okay. Whew.
Yeah.
Sorry, Courtney.
Right.
Like I was kind of like, I felt bad for a second, but then I kind of quickly went, this is the way it goes.
Right.
This is the way it goes. And then it hit me right away. I need Emma to not go at me.
Yes.
Because if Emma goes at me, we're in trouble. If she doesn't, I know you and Tawana are safe. There's no way Yessie's going to get to you guys. But I didn't, if Emma doesn't go at me, I don't know if she's going to go at Yessie or go at you.
Yeah.
After Courtney goes out and we know there's one more to be eliminated, what was going through your mind?
I mean, we already had a break in between Yessie and the rest of us. So it was unfortunate. Just logistically, she was separated. And Emma was a great shot. I did not realize how, good she was at shooting. So that was intimidating as well because she already said she was going to go for you. And then she started going for me.
Yeah.
And after a couple of near makes, I was like, Emma, just so you know, because I was still going for her.
Yeah.
I'm like, just so you know, I'm not going to go for you if you don't go for me. And
We added a new party to the treaty.
Yeah, and we were all aligned in that. So, I mean, it was 4 against 1. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Yessie, but that's...
It was probably worse than it showed on the episode. Like we were... It was bullying almost. Obviously we're not talking crap, but it was like it was ball after ball after ball.
It took a long time.
Yeah, like imagine having 3 balls shot at you before you get to shoot back.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Yessie. And she was kind of voicing her frustration, obviously.
Sure.
She was getting some assistance from Mac and Carl and
Justified.
Nolan. Yeah, and I felt bad, but I also felt like, hey, like this is... what else can we do?
Right.
So I didn't think there was any chance she was going to survive. I thought
Same.
she has 3 people shooting at her. My biggest fear was, is Tawana in one of her errant throws going to knock me out before we get Yessie out? Do you remember how the last person got out? Like, do you remember kind of the conversations that were going on?
I mean, I remember a silly statement that I made just due to the high pressure that they took out, and I was like, like Jimmy was like, hey, what are you like? What are your thoughts? So like, oh, you were going after Emma, now you're going after Jesse, and then I'm like, yeah, Jimmy, I'm just spreading the wealth, and he's like, spreading the wealth? Like, what does that mean?
Oh my gosh. Well, and I love it. It shows on the episode where Jesse calls us out. You know,
Yeah.
Emma, like, why are you going after me?
Right.
Jeff, what about you?
Going down the line.
Yep. And then Gage.
Yep, gets to me, and I'm like, same thing. I don't want Emma to shoot at me, and that's when she says, you know, I'm feeling very bullied and isolated.
And we've all spent weeks on end with each other.
Oh yeah.
As we get closer to the end, we get closer to each other because we spend time during the day.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't really any personalities that were like, oh my gosh, get away from me. So you get to know them. So it's like, although it's competition, we do care about them.
For sure.
You know, and I was so impressed with her resilience and just how tough she was.
She was amazing.
She didn't give up.
Right.
She didn't get down.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, she did this one-handed shot. And there's an awesome view of this in the episode where she shoots and she takes out Emma.
Amazing.
I mean,
incredible.
It was one of my favorite moments of the finale because she had her back against the wall.
Yeah.
Like if there was betting odds, she probably had a 10% chance that she was going to get out.
Right.
Like everybody was going after her. And when she got out, she kind of like owned it and kind of like looked at us like,
you see, guys?
Yeah.
You see, you're messing with me. She's like, don't mess with me.
Yeah, you're messing with the wrong person. And kind of similar to you in 9, where you made a move and you backed it up with a coin flip. She made a big move in 9 and backed it up with this.
Yes.
And from my seat, again, Tawana was the ultimate competitor. You know, I was the ultimate kind of diplomat. I would engage when I need to. I would step back when I need to. And then I see you and Jesse, who made huge plays in the last 2 days, kind of go, I look around, I kind of go, this is it.
Yeah.
And what I love is like and I'm a numbers guy. And you think about.
There's another shirt phrase that you need to.
Oh, yes. Dude, make me a shirt. That'd be sweet. I would love, like I just love the mirroring and reflection of numbers and the synchronicity. So you have Tawana 830, Jeff 831. You have Jesse 947, mirrored. You have Gage 974.
That's wild.
And this has happened a handful of times in the game so far. And I looked at that and kind of go, this is awesome. And so one thing you don't see on this episode is they have to change the set between these challenges. And unlike other challenges, we're not going off to spend time with each other and hang out. We're on ice, meaning we're not talking to each other.
Yes.
They take us down. They keep us separate. And even in like, and I don't know if this happened with you, Gage, but like if you had to go to the bathroom, someone would go in before you to make sure there weren't any notes left.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
It was like this is, when I say this changes all, everything was different. Like even the way production staff looked at us when we would go out and go to the bathroom, like, oh.
I know. It felt eerie.
It was so bizarre.
Yeah. I was like, we're just the same people. But it felt like we were treated much differently.
Because they understood the gravity of that night.
Right.
That night, a Beast Games champion would be crowned.
Right.
And it's not just 5 million, it's 10 million.
Yeah. I didn't want to think about it like
I
that.
didn't think about it like that. And I get goosebumps thinking about it. But they were looking at us so differently.
Yeah.
And I just love how the integrity of the game was upheld by them in a way I just couldn't imagine because I've never been in a show like this.
Right. They did such a fantastic job.
And at least for me, I started feeling game time again.
Yeah.
All right, we're now in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's sudden death. If you lose, you're out.
What did you think when we were isolated? Did you have any moments with other players? Like, were you able to actually like make any eye contact with anyone?
I was trying to connect with Jesse.
Same.
You know, I wanted her to know, like, not like, hey, please like me again. I wanted her to know, like, hey, I'm proud of you. Like, and like, man, great job.
Yeah.
I also wanted to see you and kind of go, we're here.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. And Tawana 830 was just zoned in. Like, she would make eye contact only if she wanted to.
Right.
And
even still, it was just very.
she was focused.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't like, hey, I need you to lose. It was like, I have my eye on the prize,
Yep.
and nothing's going to get in the way.
Right.
And these breaks, I don't know, 30, 45, an hour, and we're eating and it's dark and we don't know what time it is and it's cold.
Yeah. In the huge warehouse, just no lights. It was.
It was bizarre. Like we were gang boxes next to us, pallets. Like it wasn't like we're in a green room in a comfortable chair. So then they kind of tell us, and it's, hey, it's time to go back on. And one at a time, they kind of get us because they do not want us to talk at all. And so they bring us back up to the pillars, and we look down, and obviously the set's now different. And you kind of see this sequence of squares on the ground, and this is probably about 30 or 40 feet down. I didn't know what to expect. I honestly, I thought like it'd be like a Tetris game or a numbers game. Did you have any idea of what we were walking into?
No clue.
Okay.
Every single time I try to wipe my brain of any expectations, unlike someone else in our alliance.
No fingers of speculation.
No fingers of speculation. It was because I would get in my head too much and overthink, and I think overcomplicate things. That's one of my problems. I overthink, but internally,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have that be kind of a problem for me.
And I don't want to talk bad about him because he's not here.
Right.
But I will say like that was one of the benefits too of the last episode is I only started thinking about what the challenges may be if someone kind of said, hey, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the zone.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, okay, it might be this. It might not.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Adaptability.
Yeah. And it just, I felt focused and open. So this is when they pulled out the buttons. Bring up the buttons. And, this is when I thought, oh, it's going to be like a trivia. We're going to like, it's like press your luck. We're going to have to press the button and answer a question or do something to that degree.
Right.
When he kind of shared, here's what we're going to do. We're going to lay out a series of patterns. Everybody's going to press the button. And the first one to take their hand off it is responsible for walking that pattern. And by the way, the pattern is going to disappear once you take your hand off the button, which was like the hardest thing for me. Like that's what I couldn't get over.
Yeah.
And whoever successfully goes across will be able to eliminate someone.
Wild.
First thoughts for you?
I would say I really wanted to do it so bad. Just because, well, also too, the game before, I really wanted to make a shot. I really wanted to make a basket, and you made a basket.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, you kind of showed that you were a player to contend with. You were making a move. You were able to actually get someone out.
You're contributing to you're contributing to the outcome of the game.
Exactly. And I wanted to do this again, but besides the coin flip, but yeah, I knew that I wasn't going to probably be the best at this. I knew you were the numbers guy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be you for sure.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I got caught up between which numbers do I count? Because I was double counting numbers. So if I went up 3, if there's 3 up and then 4 over, I would count that as 3 and 4. So I would double count the last square and the first square.
Got it.
And it kept throwing me off.
Okay.
And I was like really, really going, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to do it. I knew undoubtedly if I got through, you were not going to get chosen. I knew if you got through, I wasn't going to get chosen. Right. I didn't know with Tawana, but I kind of look at her and she was like I didn't.
You must have known. I mean, because you guys were close.
But here's the deal about Tawana.
Oh, right.
We're close, but I'm also a competitor.
Yeah.
And eventually, this is what I started learning at the elimination train, is when do you start taking out your top competition? You have to do it if you got a shot.
Yeah.
I didn't think that way, Like part of me was like, I want to get the best to the end.
Yeah.
But guess what? We were at the end.
Yeah.
We were
This
here.
was the end.
This was the 4 horsemen. This was the final 4.
Yeah.
And so I thought there's a chance that she could take me out. But also I thought she might take you out.
Yeah.
But then I kind of looked at her and I'm like, I don't think she's going to go. And then Yessie's like, I do these all the time on my phone. I'm like, Yessie?
know.
Like it totally surprised me that like, she's like, I love these games. I'm like,
Surprised me too.
I never knew this about you.
Yeah.
And she was like super confident. Like, I do these all the time. I'm good at it. And I'm like, oh, okay, Yessie might do this.
Yeah.
And then for me, I know what I felt because of just what we went through with the balls. And again, we didn't have a chance to talk after the balls because we were on ice. We didn't have a chance to kind of go, hey, I'm sorry. It's just the nature of the game.
Sure.
I thought like I was the closest one to her. I was the one who was the closest to knocking her out because you had a couple good throws. I thought I was in the doghouse with her, even though I had a great relationship with her.
Right.
Like Yessie and I got close in the last kind of top 20. What were you thinking when Yessie said, hey, this might be mine
Yeah.
to take?
I mean, I think I felt the same way as you, just because strategy and also reciprocity in terms of, before in that game, we're like, if you're gonna go for me, I'm gonna go for you. Or if you're not
Yeah.
gonna go for me, I'm not gonna go for you. So I feel like she might have wanted to pay or repay me and choose me to eliminate. Just because I was going after her and I was the longest shot.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the most ridiculous thing. It's like, hey, I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff's right
You have
there.
Tawana, you have Jeff.
Emma's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely felt like a target.
And
Most definitely.
with Yessie, it's you go back to you on 9 and then the coin flip. It's kind of going, hey, I kind of made this move that was a little squirrely on 9. I want to do my.
Thank you, Jeff.
You got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good
yeah.
way to describe it.
Yeah.
I want to do my part to kind of do something different to earn your respect and show you that, hey, I can do something more on 10. And he did it with a coin flip.
Right.
For me, with this is like, hey, like, Yessie, I love you. And I kind of like went after you hard. And because I'm the seawall, I made them go after you too. I felt the need to kind of like you, like I want to be able to pay you back. Like I want to be able to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her like, hey, like, because I was having a hard time memorizing everything, but I felt like for sure I could get a third.
Yeah.
Like if you need me the last third or the middle third, I can get it.
Were you more comfortable with the latter than?
I
like,
just
the
give me a
first?
small chunk
Okay.
and I will commit it to memory undoubtedly.
Okay.
And I can be able to visualize it.
I think we were also trying to team up. You asked me.
I
too.
was
It's
telling
like,
you,
hey,
yeah.
if you want to do it, we can, go half and half and whatnot. And I was really trying.
And-
I was really trying. Like,
And I think that would have been awesome to
Yeah.
do because I think we trust each other.
right.
And yeah, if one of us messed up, so be it. At least we went down together. Or not technically, one of us would go down.
Yeah.
I knew Yessie was contemplating it, but when she let go of the buzzer, I was pretty shocked
Mm.
because I was probably within under a minute to
Okay.
actually do it
Wow.
because I wanted to be in control.
Yeah.
So when she goes down, what surprised me the most is it's immediate that the pattern disappears. And not only do you have to get off your pillar,
Yep.
you have to walk to the stairs.
Yes.
These are like 2 sets of stairs going down. Then you have to walk. And so you have 25 to 30 seconds to keep this in your head.
Yep.
And
And
that
then you're a completely different space as well. You're not. You don't have to draw it out because I mean, visually, spatially, it would have been a lot easier to be able to do it or tell.
it's just like
where to
playing
go.
like
Yeah.
in-person chess and chess with friends.
Right.
You're looking at the board differently.
Right.
And I was excited for her in some weird way. Like even though like I knew like I felt like she would probably pick me. I was excited for her, and then I see her get down there, and immediately I see where she's standing, and I'm like, this isn't like I don't know the whole pattern, but I know this isn't the start. Did you have any inclination about where she should start? Did you feel anything?
I forgot immediately where it started. And yeah, when she was having that moment of just kind of back and forth, like, is this where I go? And then hearing you when you were like, I think it's over. You said it's over to the right. Even now, I'm just like, I forget. What's to the
Yeah,
right?
or I think it's one. Yeah, it was to the right, but I think it's one over.
One over. You're like, it's one over. And she's very reluctant
And I, because I,
move.
yeah, and I was kind of like, I want to tell her,
Yeah.
but I don't want to screw up her thought process. It's kind of like if, you think back to episode 4 with the helicopters and Daphne, 76, 42, like
Right.
giving something to her might screw up her pattern.
Sure.
So I was just like, do I tell you? And I saw she was dead set. I'm like, hey, no, it's one over.
You knew for a fact.
I knew for a fact where she wasn't it.
Okay.
I thought it was 1 over, or it could have been 2 over.
Okay.
But I knew for a fact where she
wasn't.
was, it wasn't it.
Wasn't there. Okay.
And yeah, I didn't know what to say. And it wasn't like, oh gosh, man, if I tell her where to go, she's gonna knock me out. It was more of, I don't want to tell her the wrong thing, and I don't want to
Sure.
screw up her mindset.
Sure. I mean, yeah, you can look at it both ways, right? Because if you did point her in the right direction, she would have had, you would have been in her favor. And
Yeah.
then
She
she wouldn't have picked you.
Of course, and I think that goes to kind of a philosophy of the game. When I look around at people who made it pretty far, were usually the people who help people,
Mm-hmm.
And not, hey, I'm going to do this because you're going to do it for me. It's,
Right.
I want to do this for you.
Right. With no
Yeah,
expectations.
exactly.
But I mean, it's the last 4.
Well, and you understand what's the likely outcome,
Yeah.
but it's not always the driver. But so for me, it was like, I love Yessie, and I felt bad for everything we did. And it's like,
Yeah.
I need to tell you what's on my mind. And she says, yeah, you're pulling your hair. I'm like, yeah, do I tell her or not? What do I do? And I told her, and then Jimmy chimes in like, hey, are you really going to believe this guy? And she ultimately chose not to listen.
Right.
And she steps on the square. I knew the outcome. Did you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I was, I mean, obviously conflicting feelings because I was so devastated for her. This was her moment.
Yeah.
Like I had the coin flip and I was like, man, if she would have pulled this off, this would have been so cool. And then in the same breath and the same thought, I was just like, oh, we're now in the 3 where I'm safe. And I was so relieved. I turn around because I couldn't believe it.
That's how I was. It turned red. My immediate was relief. And then I felt for her.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really cool is they gave her an opportunity to walk it.
Right.
So she started 1 over and walks the pattern.
Yeah.
And she completes it. So like
Yeah.
she
No
knew it.
hesitation. She
But-
knew it. for
But this
sure.
is why, like, you let go and it disappears.
Yeah.
And so she was awesome, as always. Yessie's like the coolest. And she, exits with grace.
Yeah.
And gets dropped. And I look over and I go, again, in my mind, I go, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
8:30 Tawana, I meet on day 1 on the pillars, spend days with her, and I see how she leads and I see how she interacts with people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's an absolute rock star. I would love to go to the end with her.
Mm-hmm.
And again, at this time, like I don't even know how to talk to my GoPro. I'm like nervous. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You did great. by
oh,
the way.
thanks, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm happy to be here and I want to keep playing. I want to go to the city. And then I get to the city. I want to go to the island.
Yeah.
But I knew she had something special.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of the island, is where I met you.
Mhm.
And you became a fast, close friend. And it was like that we had this mutual trust. Like that was like really, really strong.
Mhm.
And yeah, we would go head to head, but it would be fair and fun.
Yeah.
And I go, this is awesome. Like, this is awesome. I have no clue what's next, but it's going to be great.
Mhm.
Did we take a break there? Did we get put on ice again?
I believe, I'm trying to remember. I think we went right into it, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah, I don't remember any big breaks because the last break I remember it was you and then Yessie and then T like over.
Yeah, I was
And-
thinking the same thing. So
yeah.
yeah, we went right into this, and it kind of worked out that we're all 3 of us were on the same side. So Jimmy gets to come out, and kind of tease up this challenge. And this challenge is, hey, we surveyed the top 50 people and we surveyed who they wanted to win the most or who they liked the most and kind of stack ranked them.
Yeah.
And the person who had the least amount of votes was going to be in this envelope.
Yeah.
And that person would be eliminated.
Right.
But there was a catch. And oh my gosh. I mean, like I think back through this and like the catch was, but you'll have a chance to take another option. And the other option is guards walked out with giant bags of money.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell us how much at first.
Right.
But they brought them out and started dumping them on.
Yep.
And dumping them on. And then that's when Jimmy goes, hey, sorry, it takes a little time to bring $1 million at the stage.
Right.
And I go, again,
Yeah.
goosebumps. 3 of us, somebody's going to get $1 million.
Right.
And
in that moment, it was a similar feeling as when he brought out the coin, when Chandler brought out the coin. I was like, either A, I am going to choose it because I thought that I had less of a chance for going through, and I thought that my number was going to be on the card for sure. Or B, T picks it, and I get to go against you in the final. So either way, in that moment, I was so happy and relieved.
Unbelievable.
It was an incredible moment.
It was. And like for me, I like my thoughts, like they didn't kind of tee it up completely. And I kind of go, wait, is someone going to get eliminated and they're going to get $1 million? I'm like, no, there's no way that's going to happen. Then he says, this is a bribe, or someone said it's a bribe, but no, it's the final bribe.
Yeah.
This is your final out.
I said this is I forget. Yeah, something of this is the bribe or something. Yeah, the final bribe.
Yeah, and it was, and that's going to go $1 million bribe. Someone can get it, but it takes you out of the game.
Yeah.
And we're not going to announce who is, let's call it the least favorite or the least favored.
Yeah.
And whoever presses the button first can choose to eliminate themselves from the game and get $1 million. You kind of shared that it was a similar feel of the coin flip. So like you knew before he even said game on that it was going to be you.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I see it right now.
No,
This is the look I saw in the coin flip.
Yeah.
Like nothing's stopping me.
Yeah.
Like this is it. I made my mind up and I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any thought that your name or your number wasn't in there?
No, not at all. I am at first.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, oh, of course, I'm the least popular. Like, I'm the quiet one, right? Jimmy coined me as the quiet one. So I'm like, I didn't make as many connections as you did or T. T was, I know. I was like, no way that T's number's in there.
Yeah, she's a first ballot Beast Games Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer for me. This is the smart move. This is the opposite side of flipping a coin for 10 million and possibly being eliminated.
These are the two sides of Gage 974.
Yeah, this was the smart conservative decision to make. And then as I was going through it and I was looking at you guys, I'm like, man, and also another element came into play. I was like, I was so happy to be able to, and obviously after asking both of you if you wanted to take the $1 million, because I asked T first. It's like, T, do you want to take the $1 million?
And I thought that was so like, that was just a baller move. You looked at her and you connected and said, hey, you've turned it down
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah.
Do you want this opportunity?
Right. Yeah.
You know, you didn't kind of box her out. You didn't elbow her and say, hey, this is mine. And she said, no, thanks.
Well, yeah, in
In
T
her
fashion.
In her roundabout way.
I'm not taking this money. I'm going all the way. I'm winning the 10. And I'm like,
Watch me work.
yeah, watch me work. So great. And I was like, all right. And then I looked to you and I'm like, hey, do you want do you want this? And you're like, I have my mind made up. I am going to get this 10, for everything that you want to do. And I was like, okay. So Jimmy comes up to us and we kind of, give our reasons, and like what we want to do with the money and everything like that. And I, I say, hey Jimmy, yeah, I just want the travel van to be able to, play music and hang out with my friends, and like as a joke, obviously, and
But kind of true.
kind of true. Oh, for sure, that's one thing I want to do. But yeah, it felt so good to be able to at least give you guys the opportunity, because I knew that's what you wanted. You wanted to go against your pillar mate. It all comes full circle.
And the fact that you got $1 million to get out of the way, like, one way to put it.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Do you remember our last conversation before you went down, before they dropped you?
No, can you remind me?
Well, it's, you kind of, you said your goodbyes. You said your goodbye to Tawana.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get a hug?
Yeah.
And you looked at me and you gave me a hug and you go get this.
Yeah. You got
Or
this.
you got this.
You got this.
And I said, I know. And it was one of these, again, like you and I had a few moments where we catch eyes and we go, we're totally aligned. Like there's nothing come between us.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the most kind of special moments from the monster truck on, is there's a few times where you and I look at each other and kind of go, we are simpatico.
Mm-hmm.
We are right in line. And that was another one. I loved it.
I mean, I feel like you are very, very good at connecting with people. And I was so honored to be able to have that moment and share that moment with you. That was, looking back now, it makes me emotional. But yeah, it was so, so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Then money's on the pillar.
Yep.
You get to say your goodbyes. What did you say again? Do you remember? Like, when you get to drop yourself, like
Oh yeah,
mom and dad.
Yeah. Mom and dad. Well, even before that, they made me go down. They made me run down after I
Oh yes.
pick the button, and I jump in the pile of money, and everyone is like doing something. Carl's like, oh my gosh, doesn't he look so much more attractive with all this money? And I thought that was hilarious.
And I was again. It's like it's like you're up watching a show, because I'm looking down at you and I saw the joy. Like, I was so proud. I was like, you got $1 million. You got to go out on your own terms.
Yeah.
You got to play so hard the last 2 episodes, and you did things your way. And it was like, man.
Yeah.
And just to see a friend do that, I was so pumped for you.
It felt so good looking at both you and T. Just kind of, it made me feel so much better and less, I guess, greedy in a sense, taking the money and kind of leaving you guys to duke it out, because obviously in a perfect world, we would all be able to split 10 or whatever. But I felt bad in a sense, and kind of guilty taking it, but it felt, you guys made me feel so, I guess, supported.
I don't want to speak for T, but I feel like I probably could. We wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like, we've come this far.
Yeah.
And I remember when they dropped you, and I was so happy for you. And then I kind of look around and I go, this is a fairy tale. Like, are you kidding me? Tawana, my pillar mate, 830, is here.
Yeah.
The fiercest competitor that I thought is in the finals with me. With me. Oh my gosh. We haven't had one bluffing game. And I'm not a good bluffer. I go, I need to step up my game. And then we get put on ice.
Okay.
They give us a meal.
Okay.
And it was really weird. I don't know if you remember on the first episode, there was 2 people who talked to us. It was Klitz and Scott, the other director. Back to your pillars, back to your pillars. Remember that guy?
Right.
He was my handler. So he took me
Okay.
and sat with me.
Interesting.
And I'm like, why is, like, he's a big deal. Like, why are you sitting with me? And eventually I asked him, and he's like, we've stripped the set.
Yeah.
It is bare bones with staff.
Wow.
This is the final 2.
Yeah.
We can't have any leaks. This is only Beast Team and a select few from the other production team. I go, oh my gosh. And I look at Tawana, I can see her over, and she's with Kara.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And I'm like, this is it. And I'm trying again to try to get into Kara's head, or not, excuse me. I too am trying to get back in to Tawana's head. I want to find her eyes. I want her to see that I'm focused, and she is not giving me the time of day.
No. I can see that.
She knows better. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and even if she looked at me, she'd laugh at me.
Yeah.
So we eventually get back, and I remember,
What do you have to eat? What do you have to eat?
I was probably like some type of steak or maybe chicken.
Oh, cool. Not hard boiled. When you said we'd go back to Vegas, I was just like, oh, hard boiled egg again?
I like the hard boiled eggs and cold oatmeal grew on me, but I remember eating a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to go, and I'm like, hey, can I get some more coffee? And at this time, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I remember they say it's time to go back. And again, I am trying to like walk fast to get close to her so I can catch her eyes. And I couldn't. And then so when I realized she was going, I'm like, hey, I need to use the restroom real quick. And they're like, oh, okay. So go to the restroom, come back. We get up there. And I look down and I see this kind of, looks like a lazy Susan, this kind of circle with 10 briefcases. There's numbers on it. And I go, okay.
So you went back to up to the platform.
We went up.
So you were able to see it.
To see down.
Afar. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we each walked down, I think, a side.
Okay.
If my memory serves me correctly.
Did they film it all like they potentially would use that footage?
I think so.
Okay.
It's
I'm sure it's all
it's all a blur, but I do have a question for you because you know it came out that someone said, hey, like, I heard you were a professional poker player. Do you remember that conversation from the Pillars earlier, that challenge?
I don't. I honestly don't remember that, but it's something that I believe that I would have believed it if I would have heard it.
Well, it came out. I thought I was trying to make a joke to you and Tawana, like, oh yeah, back when I was a professional poker player, and then I think
very subtle.
And I was trying to make like a dad joke,
Sure.
and then I thought like Tawana really thought I was a poker player. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. It was an accidental kind of inception.
Okay. That's cool.
But the thing was with me is like, I realized like I am not a great bluffer. I'm not good at poker. I haven't played poker in a decade, but when I did, I was not good. If I had pocket aces, everybody knew it. If I had 2-7, so did you. So when I see these briefcases, I realize, holy cow, like I need to do something different in order to have a shot. So we walk down, and when you saw this episode, before kind of Jimmy teed it up, like what was going through your mind if you were there? Like if you chose to not press the button and Tawana gets eliminated and it's me versus you and you see these 10 briefcases, have you thought about?
I have. I mean, I try to protect myself in a way emotionally from not having any regrets, but thinking about it and putting myself in T's position, I don't know how it would have played out. I think having the confidence from just the coin flip and everything, it would have been so cool to be able to go against. Obviously, it'd be so cool to go against you. But again, I looked at all of these games, even though there is strategy involved, I would have looked at it like it's pretty up to chance just in terms of like the moves you make. I mean, obviously there is a manipulation tactic that you could use, to read people. I believe I'm really good at reading people. I don't believe that I'm good at,
Deflecting.
Deflecting. Yeah. That's JC. But I I think it would have been a really cool moment between us. I don't think it would have been serious.
I think
mean, obviously the moments
we would have had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
And it would have been firm. It would have been like we would have poked each other.
Yeah.
It would have been sweet. But with Tawana, it wasn't going to be that.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I knew it was going to be a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that if I was going to come out victorious, I had to show her a side of me that she's never seen.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that,
Here's the deal.
Is when we were up top looking down
Yeah.
and I saw them numbered, I knew what number I wanted to pick.
Incredible.
I knew, like, so many things were speaking to me in the last few days about the number 6.
How so?
So first, we have the $1 million bribe. Tawana goes first, picks Mikey, who picks JC, who picks Emma, who picks Patrick, then who picks me, and gives me key number 6.
Yeah.
So the last 4 days, I spend in bunk number 6 alone. In there, I have a lot of time by myself, and I have my prayer book. And one of the prayers I say, that I say multiple times a day, called the Shema, has 6 words in it. 6 words in the first verse. Then we go to the towers, and now we get into the top 6. There was a few other synchronicities that I thought were like just super interesting. It was the 6th Hebrew month of the year. There's other things that I was studying with regard to the attributes of God that were talking about the 6 attributes. And it's like, so 6 kept popping up. And 6 is not a lucky number for me at all. Like I've never had this kind of affinity to 6.
Yeah.
But I was up there and I go, it's going to be 6. And so when we get down there, 2 more things happened. And I'm trying to get into Tawana's head. I'm trying to give her, like, stare daggers at her. And a lot of this stuff is probably cringe when you watch it. Like, we're going to flip for it. And like, I didn't really show it in the episode. I'm like, no, we're going to flip to see who flips. And I was just thinking, like, what a stupid thing to say.
Right. But just, add that other element of kind of like,
Yeah, like, well, how do I respond to this?
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, no, I call tails. Oh, so do I. Oh, what's that? So then she goes, but I'll let you call it. And this was a lot of kind of in the moment trying to figure out how to navigate this stuff, but also try to throw her off a little bit of her game.
Yeah.
And Jimmy kind of walks through the rules. We have the attorney come out and kind of walk through the rules, because this is a very specific game where someone gets to put a $10 million check in a briefcase. You can put the briefcases anywhere you want. You could stack 10 on top of each other.
Yeah.
You can have them all in the numbers. You can put some on the top.
Okay.
You spin it around. You can put them anywhere you want.
But they have to be on the actual Lazy Susan contraption.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you could stack up a couple anywhere you want.
Wow.
And then when Jimmy's talking about that, he kind of spins it, and then while he's talking to us, he puts his hand on one. I look over. It's number 6.
Wow.
Then he spins it again and lets it go. Where it lands, I think right in front of me, was number 6. And I kind of go, are you gonna listen to this or not?
Right. You're like, huh.
Are you gonna listen to this or not? So immediately when the coin toss went heads and I went first, there was not a question in my mind I was picking 6 if there was a briefcase there.
Dang.
So I put on the blindfold, and I'm standing there, and I felt like I was in a different world.
Yeah. How did
Just-
that feel?
Oh, I was at peace.
Yeah.
I was just zoned
Yeah.
and just calm.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was 4 minutes or 10 minutes. It didn't matter. And I remember I didn't have an ounce of anxiety on me.
Yeah.
And I remember when Jimmy was like, hey, when you're ready, let 8031 know to take off his blindfold and turn around. I take off my blindfold. And what do I look for? Is there anything on number 6? Oh, there's a briefcase. And in addition, there's 3 briefcases laid on top, not on a number.
Right.
And so I go, it's going to be 6, but let me let me feel it out.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the moment I put my hand on one, I claim it. It's like putting your hand on the buzzer for the $1 million bribe.
Okay.
So if I touch a briefcase, it's the one I claim.
Oh, no way. It's official.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
So,
was part of the, that was,
I
in the rule.
that's how I remember it.
Okay.
So like when I'm turning it, you'll see me, I turn just using the lazy Susan. So I remember kind of going, I'm trying to get a read on her a little bit and get a little confirmation. And I go to 5 and I know she has 5 in her family. And I didn't know what else to say with 5. And I kind of go, okay, this is not it. Let's go to 6.
Yeah.
Again, this is where I wanted to be at the end.
Yep.
So I go to 6. What do you think about 6? Or what do you know about, what do you want to know? And it was a different answer than 5, but I don't want to say it was telling, but it was just different.
Yeah.
So then I spin around again. I want to give her a little breathe.
As you're spinning this, are you constantly making eye contact with her, or are you kind of just
I
feeling it out? What was your strategy?
knew I was going to end up on 6,
No matter what. Yeah.
but I wanted to feel her out.
Okay.
So it was like, let me be calm.
Okay.
Let me own the space. Let me own the room, and let me get to where I want to go and then connect. So I wasn't trying to like spin and look at her at the same time.
You read her like live as she was doing.
So then I kind of go here and I kind of say, hey, these 3 on the top, they don't matter. She wouldn't put it there. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
So I was kind of narrating what I thought was in her head. And again, part of this is, so the next time if, it's my turn, I'm throwing her off. So a lot of this is like a yesy move. I'm planting seeds in this round so they help me in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kind of go 5. Hey, it might be 5, but you know what? It's 6. And in the episode, I don't know if I say it right, but I said, I don't think this number is special to her, but that's why it is, because it was special to me.
Okay. Wow.
And so I don't think I necessarily read her. I think it's probably a better chance that I incepted it, which is kind of far-fetched to think about. I think it was being in the moment, being true to myself, being true to my intuition, and a little bit of chance. But when I made that choice, I felt so good.
Yeah.
I felt so good. And I remember when Jimmy showed it to us, when you open this thing up, a light shines. And when I locked it in and I opened it and I saw the light.
You didn't even look.
I didn't even look.
Yep.
I didn't even see the check until 10 minutes later. I see the light.
Yeah.
And I immediately do this kind of Elvis move where I do this pump.
Yeah, it was so cool.
And I'm a huge Elvis fan. It was like second nature. Like I didn't think about it. And then I just take off running.
Yeah.
And it was surreal. It was obviously I just won $10 million, but it was like I just listened to my heart. I listened to something that was bigger than me telling me to do this for reasons that I couldn't explain at the time.
Right.
And that hasn't happened in a long time for me. It was neat for me to take away all distractions, phones, people, to connect in prayer, to connect with myself, and to listen to what God or the universe is telling me.
Yeah.
And so it was just a whirlwind of emotion. So I get to the top and I slide down and then I climb back up
That was
again.
a great slide, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't say it was deliberate. I think I get up there and these Skechers, I think I might have worn off all the tread on it.
Yeah.
But then I just lifted everybody up, Carl, Nolan, and Chandler. And then I get back up and I look down and I see Jack and I see Jen. And I thought they went home.
Yeah.
And man, it was awesome. It just winning $10 million is awesome. Having those who you love be proud of you is worth the same amount. And it was just a special moment. It was special, but at the same time, I I wanted to hug Tawana,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know. I was lucky enough to go over to her and tell her I loved her and tell her I respected her and to thank her
Yeah.
again, because this was an opportunity for me, just as you stepped into the coin flip.
Right.
I don't want to say I'm always kind of in the background, but you know, I like to see how things are going and then choose in when I need to and choose out when I need to.
I feel you.
And this was a chance for me to step in and own it. And I could have opened up like that briefcase and nothing but in there, and I would have looked like a fool.
Well,
But I went confidently and did it. And it just I felt like how you described the coin flip.
same
And-
feeling. Yeah, incredible.
And I wanted to thank her for that moment and just thank her for being who she was. Like she made Beast Games so special for me. And then I have to go back with my family and just like think about what this means for Lucas. And just yeah, the driving force for me was, can I go far? Can I make friends? Can I share Lucas's story? In episode 8 and 9, I got to do it. And in episode 10, I got to win the grand prize. Not just 5 million, but 10 million because of you. Because of you.
It was so special to me to be able to do that for any one of us, but specifically, and I'm not just saying that here because I'm sitting with you right now. You were the one. You were the one that was
And-
meant for it.
And on behalf of Lucas and all these kids with CTD,
Mhm.
you're going to be a legend forever for them. And I mean it. Like I can't tell you how much I appreciate our friendship even before this, but for now, we are forever
Oh yeah.
bonded. You are helping. You played a huge role in helping these kids get a solution.
Mhm.
I appreciate you, brother.
Oh God. I love you, Jeff, and I love your family, and I can't wait to continually help and be a part however I can in the process for, finding the cure. It's going to be an incredible journey.
And I thank you. And I think this journey, although I feel like this was the journey, I think the true journey is just starting. And so many rare diseases don't get any attention. So many get a little bit of funding, and it takes decades to have a solution. And I think we have an awesome opportunity to not just get awareness on this condition, but also to get funds. Like it costs 30 to 40 million to get stuff into a clinical trial. And
Yeah.
I just, man, what a gift from you, from Jimmy and Beast Games
Mhm.
and Mr. Beast and 930 Patrick, 991 Jeremy, 204 Chris, 755 Morgan, who eliminated our row at the beginning, Mikey 453.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So many people that if it wasn't for them, they played a role in me getting here, and
Same.
an absolute honor.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I was able to articulate in those moments, really the gratitude that I felt for everyone that played a part in moving me forward. And it's going to be such a cool experience moving on to be able to go back and give them the credit that
Yeah.
they deserve and be able to show others like them, who they are. And I think it's crazy how much we connected as like a Beast Games family. Like I feel so supported, and the network that we have is incredible, and I feel like it all is leading, like trickles out and all goes to what this whole experience was meant for. It was not meant for the prize. It wasn't meant for the show. There's so many, it's unfathomable, all of the good that we're going to be able to do with it. And I know you, especially you are such an awesome human being, and you truly deserve this.
Thank you.
You truly did.
And thank you. And I think you hit it on the head, that the connections made with great people who want to do fun and exciting but good things didn't stop that night.
Right.
Didn't stop when I slid down the pyramid. These relationships are real. They'll continue. And
Very real.
there's so many of us who want the best for the others.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate sign for me of friendship. Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the support and with Lucas and
Oh, God.
and all the well wishes, and my journey's just starting there. And man, Mr. Beast Games, unbelievable. And this was episode 10 of the Beast Files, but we're not done. We're going to bring back some contestants, so please leave your favorite contestants that you'd love to hear from in the comments. We'll bring them back into a series recap. And so, although the Beast Files and the Beast Games are done, my journey is just starting. We are going to find a cure for CTD. And so you're going to see a ton of content coming out. Please stay tuned to the channel, but I need your help. I want your support. And I would love your help in helping me find a cure for Lucas and all the kiddos with CTD and other rare diseases. So the Beast Games are done, but the Beast Files aren't. We're going to come back and we're going to recap more episodes. So please put your favorite player, your favorite contestant in the comments. I would love to bring them back and continue to recap these episodes. Stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.